Trust is built in drops and lost in buckets, but sometimes it leaks out drop by drop. When we think about the end of a relationship, we tend to imagine the catastrophic events. We picture the explosive fight, the discovery of infidelity, or the moment one person packs a bag and walks out the door. We look for the big bang that destroyed the universe of the couple. But often, if you look closely at the history of a breakup, the end didn't happen in a single moment of crisis. It happened in 1,000 tiny, quiet moments, where one person reached out and the other person didn't reach back. This concept is crucial because it explains why so many people feel lonely in relationships that look functional on paper. You might share a home, a bed, and a life, yet feel an unbridgeable distance. This distance is usually caused by micro-rejections. These are the small, seemingly insignificant interactions that, over time, erode the foundation of safety and trust. Today, we are going to look at the anatomy of these moments, why they hurt so much, and how to stop the leak before the vessel is empty. To understand micro-rejections, we have to look at the work of Dr. John Gottman and the concept of bids for connection. A bid is any attempt from one partner to another for affirmation, attention, or connection. It can be verbal or nonverbal. It can be huge or it can be tiny. A bid is saying, "I had a hard day." A bid is a sigh. A bid is reaching out to hold hands. A bid is pointing out the window and saying, "Look at that bird." When a partner makes a bid, the other partner has three choices in how they respond. They can turn towards, turn away, or turn against. Turning towards is the healthy response. It acknowledges the bid. You look at the bird. You ask about the hard day. Turning against is a hostile response. It involves shutting down the bid with anger or criticism, like saying, "Why are you interrupting me?" But the most insidious response, and the one we are focusing on today, is turning away. Turning away is the non-response. It is the silence while you keep scrolling on your phone. It is the murmured, "uh-huh," without looking up. It is treating the other person's attempt to connect as invisible noise. When you turn away, you are implicitly sending a message. That message is, "Your need for attention is not important to me right now." It is easy to dismiss these moments as trivial. You might think, "So what if I didn't look at the bird? I'm busy, I'm paying the bills, I'm tired." And in isolation, one missed bid is not a disaster. Relationships are resilient enough to handle occasional distraction. But when turning away becomes a habit, it creates a culture of disinterest. It signals that the partner is low on the priority list, somewhere below the television, the phone, or the chores. This constant low-level rejection triggers a biological response in the rejected partner. We are wired for connection. When we reach out to our attachment figure and are met with a blank wall, our nervous system registers a threat. It feels like a micro-abandonment. Over time, to protect ourselves from the pain of that rejection, we stop reaching out. We stop making bids. The relationship becomes silent. There are no more fights, but there is no more love either. This is the roommate phase that so many couples dread, where you are functionally parallel but emotionally severed. Let's look at some applied insights on how this manifests in daily life, because it is rarely malicious. It is usually habitual. One of the most common forms of micro-rejection is the too busy sigh. Your partner comes into the room to tell you a funny story from work. You are typing an email. Instead of pausing for 10 seconds, you keep typing and give a heavy sigh that says, "I am tolerating this interruption, but I wish you would stop." You might not even realize you are doing it, but your partner hears, "I am a burden." Another form is the eye roll, or the dismissive tone when a partner expresses a worry. If your partner says, "I'm worried about that noise the car is making," and you roll your eyes and say, "It's fine, you worry about everything," you have turned away. You have rejected their emotional reality. You didn't have to agree that the car was broken to validate that they were worried. You could have said, "I hear that you're stressed about it." By dismissing the emotion, you miss the opportunity for connection. A subtler version is what we call competitive exhaustion. Your partner makes a bid for support by saying, "I am so tired today." Instead of turning towards that bid with empathy, you turn away by centering yourself. You say, "You think you're tired? I've been up since 5 a.m." In that moment, you have turned a bid for comfort into a competition for misery. The door to connection slams shut. These interactions create a deficit in what Gottman calls the emotional bank account. Every time you turn towards, you make a deposit. Every time you turn away, you make a withdrawal. When the account is in the red, even neutral interactions start to feel negative. You enter a state of negative sentiment override, where you assume the worst of your partner because the history of micro-rejections has taught you that they are not on your side. The tragedy is that many people who are chronic turners away actually love their partners deeply. They are just distracted. They are hyper-focused on tasks. They view the relationship as a fixed object that doesn't need maintenance, rather than a living thing that needs feeding. They think, I go to work for this family, surely that is enough. But love is not just about the big sacrifices. Love is about the quality of attention in the small moments. So how do we reverse this dynamic? How do we stop the leaking and start refilling the bucket? We need to implement safe practices that disrupt the habit of checking out. We need to retrain our brains to prioritize the person over the screen or the task. The first practice is the pause and pivot. This is a physical discipline. When your partner speaks to you, practice physically stopping what you are doing. Take your hands off the keyboard. Put the phone face down. Turn your shoulders and your chest to face them. This physical pivot sends a powerful signal to your brain and theirs. I am here. Even if the interaction is only 30 seconds long, giving those 30 seconds your full, undivided attention is worth more than an hour of half-hearted listening. It says, I see you. If you are in another room and they shout something, don't just shout back. Walk to the doorway. Make eye contact. These small physical adjustments break the momentum of disconnection. Now, we have to address the reality of modern life. Sometimes you truly cannot talk. You are on a deadline, you are on a call, or you are overwhelmed. This leads to the second practice, acknowledging the bid. You do not have to say yes to the conversation to say yes to the connection. If you are busy, do not ignore them. Acknowledge the bid and schedule the attention. It sounds like this. I want to hear that story, but I am in the middle of this email. Give me 5 minutes to finish and then I am all yours. This is a turn towards response. It validates that their desire to speak is important, but it respects your boundary of time. It replaces rejection with postponement. The key, of course, is that you must actually go find them in 5 minutes. If you don't, you break the trust again. Another practice is to become a hunter for bids. For the next week, try to notice every time your partner reaches out. Notice the small comments. Notice the touches. Notice the glances. Treat them like gold coins. If they send you a meme, don't just double tap it. Reply with a sentence. If they mention a headache, ask about it an hour later. By actively looking for bids, you shift your mindset from defending my time to building my relationship. You start to see that these interruptions are not annoyances. They are the relationship itself. The relationship does not happen on date night. It happens in the kitchen while you are making coffee. It happens in the text thread. It happens in the moments in between the big events. There is a profound myth that long-term relationships inevitably lose their spark because we get bored of each other. But often we don't get bored, we get neglected. We stop being curious. We stop looking at the bird. We assume we know everything there is to know, so we stop listening. Micro-rejections are the sound of curiosity dying. When you start turning towards your partner again, you might be surprised by how quickly the warmth returns. People bloom under attention. When your partner feels that their thoughts and observations matter to you, they become more interesting. They become more open. The resentment that was calcifying around the edges of your marriage starts to soften. It is also important to communicate this concept to your partner without blaming them. If you feel you are being micro-rejected, do not accuse them of not loving you. That triggers defensiveness. Instead, explain the concept of the bid. Say, I read something interesting about how couples connect. It's about responding to small things. I'd love for us to try and notice each other's bids more. Make it a team project, not a critique of their character. The takeaway is simple. Small moments of attention are the currency of love. You cannot buy a happy relationship with one giant check once a year. You have to pay for it in pennies, nickels, and dimes every single day. You have to pay for it with the currency of your focus. Every time you put down your phone to listen to a mundane story, you are saying, I love you. Every time you look at the bird, you are saying, I am with you. Every time you turn towards, you are adding a drop to the bucket. And if you do it enough times, you will find that the bucket is not leaking anymore, it is overflowing. And that is what sustainable love feels like. It feels like being heard, even in the whispers.